This is Georgia Southern Football 90, featuring the defending NCAA national champion, Georgia Southern Eagles. This program is brought to you by Team Baden Isuzu. We are the competition. And by Atlantic Cellular. It's for you, Savannah. Now here's your host, Bill Edwards, and Georgia Southern University head football coach, Tim Stowers.
Good evening again, everyone, and welcome to Georgia Southern Football 90, Week 4 against Eastern Kentucky, a team that's coming in here, Tim, and they think that they have a lot of things to prove. They had the longest home winning streak in the country until we broke their record. They have to want to win this game in Paulson Stadium.
Well, they have revenge as a great motivator, and up to the national championship game last year, the Eastern Kentucky game in 1988 was the greatest football game ever to be played in Paulson Stadium. So they're coming back for revenge to beat Georgia Southern on their home turf and end that winning streak.
And they have a lot of people back who were here and remember that game all too well.
They really do. Their nose guard played against us that year. His name's Ernest Thompson. He's the All-American football player. He's one of the best nose guards we've ever played against. They also have Lorenzo Fields, who's a four-year starter at quarterback. He's good enough to run our offense. He's a little bit stronger runner than Raymond is. He's a great operator. They got a great tailback, Marcus Thomas, who rushed for 1,600 yards as a true freshman. They also have Tim Lester. Now, we've heard that he might be injured, he might not. I think he's going to be well. He's a fullback, and when they have Lester in there at fullback, that adds a totally different dimension to their offense when you hand the ball to the fullback and he's got a chance to go in the distance.
And Lorenzo was the young man, I believe, at quarterback who fumbled down there close when it looked like they were going in for the winning touchdown. Is that correct?
They had a quarterback center exchange problem on the 6-yard line. So when you have a quarterback center exchange problem, you really don't know whether it's the quarterback or the center. They just have to work it out.
Now, it's hard sometimes for fans to realize, you see it as coaches week to week, the team's improving. It looks to me like these kids are getting better. I know how hard you're working to get ready and to have these people proud of this football team.
Just because we're Georgia Southern now and we won the national championship last year and we're the defending national champions, everybody on our schedule points to our game as the game, and especially when they're coming to our house, they want to end that winning streak. And we've got to take a lot of pride in maintaining that winning streak. I'd hate to be on the football team. I'd hate to be the coach of the football team that had that winning streak to end and get beat the first time in Paulson Stadium since 1985.
I know that there is a lot of pride on the line, but let's talk about the 12th man this week as well. You'd talked to the folks at the booster luncheon this week about really getting involved in the game early.
Well, do you remember it was 3rd and 2, and when we were playing Florida State this past weekend, their fans really got in the game. They were doing their little sign, and they started chanting, the band started playing, the noise got rowdy. And that's how a home field crowd can kind of change the momentum of a football game. That's what home field advantage is all about. And we need our fans to really get into the football game from the time we kick off and not wait for one of our players to make something happen. If they get fired up and they get motivated, that'll help our players in turn get fired up and get motivated when the going gets tough out there and they'll rise to the occasion. Because all our kids are from South Georgia. They're in about 100, 150-mile radius, and they take a lot of pride in playing in front of a home crowd and letting the people from their hometown come watch them play.
Gut check week. I know you want to see this team get out there and get after it.
Well, we need a win, and we're playing at home. And that ought to help us right there, just the fact that we're playing at home. We got our backs to the wall. We got to come out fighting. This is the most important football game Georgia Southern's ever played because it's the next football game. It's the one that we have to set our sights on. And right now our kids have their sights set on Eastern Kentucky Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Let's get them.
We're going to do the best we can.
Okay. And we'll show you the first half highlights of the Eastern Kentucky contest right after this. It was about 20 degrees hotter than anyone wanted it as Georgia Southern finally came home for a ball game against a formidable opponent in Eastern Kentucky. Another team no stranger to national championships or long home winning streaks. The festivities got started as Don Norton kicked it away to Leon Brown, who chose to run it out of the end zone and lost 2 yards on the play when Sean Austin stopped him at the 18. The Southern In-Hospitality Committee, led by Giff Smith, allowed fullback Rick Burkhead only 3 yards on first down. Smith and Shane Maxwell next teamed up to stop tailback Marcus Thomas after only a yard. When the 3rd and 6 pass to Burkhead missed its mark, it was time to punt to the Eagles. Things got off to an inauspicious start when quarterback Raymond Gross lost the handle, but fortunately recovered for a 5-yard loss. Nor was a sideline pass to Terrence Sorrell anything to tell the troops about in Saudi Arabia, but boy, the next one sure was, as Raymond rolled out to his right on 3rd down and uncorked the bomb. Sorrell the target again, only this time the results were electrifying. It was one of those rare long-distance Voyagers that was executed to perfection. A 64-yard blast that took the Eagles down to the Colonel's 2. And on 2nd and goal, Alonzo McGee sliced off right tackle and into the Colonel's quarters, as McGee followed the great blocking of John Wilson, Rex Nottage, Lester Eford, and Darrell Hopkins into pay dirt. Unfortunately, Mike Dow's normally automatic extra point was blocked and fell like a wounded duck into the end zone, and it was only 6-0 GSU. Also, unfortunately, Eastern Kentucky did not feel the need to pack up and go home. They did head back toward their locker room in a hurry, taking the ball with them. The Colonel's first TD drive got off to a big start when tailback Marcus Thomas took quarterback Lorenzo Fields' pitch, turned the right corner, and headed 44 yards upfield before nose guard Curtis Gordon could chase him down. The Colonel's attack plan was stymied on the next play by Kevin Whitley, who, despite being blocked, was there to make the tackle on Marcus Thomas from the ground. But the Colonels kept marching. On 3rd and 11 from the GSU 22, Fields fired an 18-yard airstrike to tight end Dwayne Woods, who was stopped by Michael West. Still, it was 1st and goal at the Eagle 4. On 2nd down, fullback Rick Burkhead made it look ridiculously easy as he waltzed through the middle of the Southern defense for the tally. The Colonels kicked their extra point to make it 7-6, but that point hardly seemed significant in the light of what happened next as the Eagle Express got on track. 2nd and 9 from the 30. Raymond hit Carl Miller over the middle for 14 yards up to the 44. Then Miller took Raymond's shovel pass and high-stepped his way 9 more yards into enemy territory. Two plays later from the EKU 43, Raymond pitched it to Joe Ross, who got a good block from Darrell Hopkins on the left corner. Joe kicked in the afterburners and didn't stop running till the Eagles led 12-7. Southern had packaged a 71-yard scoring drive in 6 plays and used up only about 2.5 minutes. Now this was more like it. This time, Dallas was perfect with the extra point and a 13-7 advantage. The only thing that seemed to be missing was the defense forcing a turnover and the offense capitalizing. No sooner thought than done as number 92 Jack Harris and number 94 Tim Brown pressure Fields into pitching too soon on this play. It missed its target, and Kevin Whitley was on it in a flash. Watch again as Kevin bears down like an eagle goes after its prey. Georgia Southern was in business at the EKU 15. And like days of old, the Eagles didn't let this golden opportunity turn to rust. On 2nd and goal, Joe Ross went airborne on the Colonels, and it was 20-7 GSU after Dallas added another PAT. It seemed the combination of home streak, pride, crowd support, and determination to show the fans and the pollsters this was still a pretty good football team was taking over. Not yet out of the first quarter, and the Eagles had their greatest point production all season. And as the second quarter started, the Eagles were more like generals ordering these colonels around like plebe cadets. Mike West and Tim Brown leading a defensive charge as Marcus Thomas lost 2 yards. And Fields' 3rd down pass went awry when Big Tim Brown lowered the boom on Fields again. And everything looked peachy for Georgia Southern. But you may recall the peach crop's been lousy this year, and the Eagles' luck changed quicker than a crawfish going in reverse. After recovering a GSU fumble, fullback Rick Burkhead, who's large enough to qualify for his own zip code, crashed in to cut the Southern lead to 6 again. Oh, well, no need to panic, right? Georgia Southern fans, however, suddenly were getting a crash course in panic. Although at first it looked like the Eagles were on their way back. A pass to Carl Miller on 3rd and 10 was good for 16, but 2 plays later, disaster struck once more. Raymond was hit by EKU's Era Jackson, who not only knocked the ball loose, but recovered same in one fluid motion. The Colonels had the ball at Southern's 43. Not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, Eastern Kentucky took advantage of the situation again. From there, the Colonels had better luck than Tom Cruise has meeting girls, as witnessed by this play. Lorenzo Fields fires the ball, tipped by one receiver, nearly intercepted by Mark Giles, only to have it ricochet into the hands of number 83, Dwayne Woods, who had a clear shot for another EKU touchdown. And the stunned crowd that only moments before had been toasting a 13-point lead suddenly found themselves behind by a point, 21-20 at halftime. Even so, running back Carl Miller knows the offensive improvement was there.
We came out and mixed it up a little bit, passed, ran. We passed more today than we have all season. And the players, you know, we like to pass. You know, we want to pass more and try to get the guys to loosen up on the options so we can get some big runs in there. And Joe had a couple.
When we return, meet Scott Farmer, the women's swimming coach, as Georgia Southern Football 90 continues. It didn't take long for Eagle misfortunes to continue Saturday. Using plays that give coaches peptic ulcers, the ball bounced Southern's way on 1st down, but not so on 2nd. Raymond Gross tried to hit Darrell Belzer across the middle, not noticing Brett Kulnick cutting right into the flight path. Kulnick then returned it 13 yards down to the Southern 25. From there, it was bam, bam. Lorenzo Fields zipped one out to Kenny McCullum for 14 yards. And on 1st and 10 from the 11, Marcus Thomas found a gaping hole on the left side of the Eagle line and a 28-20 lead.
Well, I was pleased that the offense moved the ball more effectively against a great Eastern Kentucky team. I thought they had a great defensive football team. We showed some improvement, but we cannot give our opponent, our great football team like Eastern Kentucky, the ball deep in our own territory. And we just can't do that. We got to learn to squeeze the football and hold on to it. We got to do a better job of pass protection and holding them out so Raymond can throw the ball and deliver the ball to the right person. We've got a lot of areas where we can improve. We've continued to improve. It's unfortunate that we don't have any football teams we can warm up on. You know, each and every one of them that we play seem like they're playing for the national championship in either Division I or Division I AA. And next weekend, Northeastern Louisiana won the national championship in 1987. You know, they got a great football tradition. They have a great football team, and I believe they have a right tackle that's 6'7", 300 pounds. You know, it's going to be a tough challenge. We're going to find out what kind of character we have. And I believe we've got the right kind of character. I believe we'll come out fighting next week.
Meanwhile, back on the battlefield, we were busy fighting these characters. Eastern Kentucky. The Colonels were making a mockery of last year's record when nobody scored on the Eagles at all in the 3rd quarter until the championship game. On 1st and 10 from their own 16, tailback Leon Brown broke off the left side for 43 yards and apparently landed in a bed of fire ants on the sidelines, but the grounds crew will take care of that this week. Gibb Smith took the fire out of Mr. Brown 2 plays later, dropping him for a 3-yard loss, but it was the Colonels with the last laugh, for on the ensuing play, Lorenzo Fields made one of the finest efforts we've seen anywhere. Avoiding Curtis Gordon's rush, Fields arched a bomb to Kenny McCollum in the end zone with precision accuracy that had Rodney Oglesby reduced to the role of spectator. 35-20 Colonels, and they weren't through yet. While the dejection on the bench was heartbreaking, the Colonels were taking no prisoners. After EKU took over on downs, they began what history tells us was their final TD drive of the day. And boy, could you have made a fortune on that bet at the time. As the Colonels, with the aid of a personal foul call, went 66 yards and 7 plays to pay dirt. Marcus Thomas bulldozing his way for the final dirty dozen to make it 42-20. It had turned into a frustrating afternoon for a very proud defense. Kevin Whitley and Gibb Smith would be the first to admit it.
Yes, I think we did do a little bit better on our 3rd down conversions, but we gave some big runs up and then a big pass toward the end of the game. Like I said, that would hurt us. We just got to get better.
The key is defense. We're giving up the big plays. We're playing two good downs, and then on the third one, we're letting them, bust a big one on us. And they're a quality team, and they'll take advantage of that. And until we start playing a complete game, that's what we're facing.
Well, they showed they were the third-ranked team in the country, I think, today. They were crisp, and boy, they were throwing some passes down there that were just not to be believed. It was just almost impossible to defend.
Well, Coach Kidd's always had a quality team. He's a perfectionist. He don't run many different things, but what he runs well. He's an old-style coach, and we knew they weren't going to make many mistakes, so we knew we couldn't. And, we made mistakes on both sides of the ball. It's just embarrassing to give up 42 points.
Yeah. With 6:40 to go, the game situation did look hopeless. The Sunshine Eagle fans were out trying to beat the traffic, while Georgia Southern was still trying to win the football game and find that magic combination. They did. Raymond Gross pass to Carl Miller out in the flats was good for 18 yards. And on 2nd and 10, Raymond found split-end Chuck McClure, a junior out of Dalton, for 24 yards down to the EKU 14. And somehow, some way, the Eagle Express was back on track. 2 more passes to Darrell Hopkins had us in the promised land for the first time since the opening quarter. One good for 9 yards, down to the 7th. The next was good for 6 points. And with Dow's PAT, it was 42-27. Could the Eagles pull off what would be the miracle of Paulson Stadium to date? For a while, it looked like it. There was still 5 minutes to go, and everyone knew an onside kick was forthcoming. And the Eagles executed it perfectly as Don Norton bounced it downfield, and Chuck McClure again grabbed it just before it went out of bounds. Eagles ball at the Eastern Kentucky 45. But 4th and 15 arose, and Raymond pulled off some of that old magic again. Eluding defenders, Gross rifled one to wide open Darrell Hopkins down the sidelines for 44 yards to the enemy 6. It was an amazing play. On 1st and goal, Raymond rolled out right and got all but a yard of it while nose tackle Ernest Thompson lost his helmet. The name may sound familiar. However, it was Eastern Kentucky's Ernest Thompson. On 2nd and goal, Raymond went left and was home free. And just like that, it was an 8-point ball game and still nearly 3.5 minutes to play. Yes, there was time.
Offense showed a lot of improvement, especially to score 34 points when we've only been scoring, 15 points a game. We showed a lot of improvement, but Bill, we're not looking for improvement. Right now, we're a mediocre football team. And Georgia Southern's not used to being a mediocre football team. Our players are not used to being a mediocre football team. Our coaches are not used to being a mediocre football team. We got to find out what kind of character we have, what kind of senior leadership we have, and get that bad case of the wants that we once had back, so we can come back and have a chance to beat Northeast Louisiana next Saturday right here at Paulson Stadium.
We're champions. Even though we're losing, we're still champions, and we always feel that the game is not over until the last second is ticked off the clock, and we will continue to play like that until the last second is ticked off the clock.
Hopes ended, however, when Brad Ladd intercepted this Gross pass with 35 seconds to play. And although a miracle was not forthcoming this afternoon, the Eagles did show true grit and can salvage this season yet. Coach Stowers will have final comments in a moment.